Hi, welcome back to Cheyenne Wyoming Urban Gardener. You haven't heard from me in a little bit, probably about a week and a half, and that's because I've been working on my health. I recently went to the dentist and had my blood pressure checked. My blood pressure was 155/91, so it was pretty high. My blood pressure has always ran a little bit higher than normal ever since I was pregnant 20-something years ago, 28 years ago, nearly. And, well, I just hadn't been keeping a very good watch on it, I guess. So I've been changing everything about my diet because I don't want to go on any type of medications. I want to try to reduce the blood pressure naturally. So I'm eating lots of potassium, cinnamon, chocolate, like dark chocolate, and avoiding any caffeine whatsoever other than what's in chocolate. I'm not drinking tea. I'm not drinking coffee. And just sticking to a lot of water. I had some swelling in my ankles that's been going on for years and years now. And just trying to get my health back in order. So that's what I'm doing to try to alleviate that and get back to a healthy weight and being able to be active. So being a lot more active right now, exercising. Anyway, what you're looking at right now is I'm making some blueberry jam. Had a couple of containers of blueberries in the fridge that were about to go bad. So I just went ahead and pureed those up, and I'm going to make some blueberry jam out of those. We ended up with 3.5 pints of blueberry jam, which will be plenty for us. We are not huge jam and jelly eaters, so we maybe go through a jar of jam in a year. Sometimes it takes even longer. So this will be plenty for us for a long time. And I'll be making more reduced sugar options in the future. This is actually a half batch, and I used the ball preserving book, but I did go ahead and do the half batch, so it's just 3.5 pints. I had about 6 cups of blueberries. After I crushed them up, there was about 4.5 cups still left. So that's what I'm doing here. And I want to show you some other things that are going on around the house. I am still collecting lots of garden plants. Of course, I started a lot on my own with seed. So there's my old German tomatoes. They've definitely made a change from what they were, these little tiny things when you saw them last. Now they are much, much bigger. So are my super sauce tomatoes. They are quite long and tall now. Some of them have got some weird shapes to them, but they'll be okay. I don't care about any of that stuff. And of course, we've got some of the giant ox hearts that are mixed in here. I did pick up a pack of eggplants because I had not started any seeds, so I did go ahead and pick those up. So I have 6 of those. More of my super sauce tomatoes. I still have my artichokes inside because we're supposed to have snow on Friday. So it'll probably kill the yellow pear tomatoes that I had already set out. But I'll show you those in a few moments. And still my mandarin oranges are doing great. Still working with the, remember the dumped batch of pepper plants. And still have some peppers in here as well. And that is the marjoram that I had started. So you can see that it's getting quite huge now. I've been working with it to try to get it bigger. I've had a lot of problems trying to start marjoram, but this one's quite healthy. And that is the other mandarin orange. They have finally accepted their new pots. It actually dropped a couple of leaves off of it, but now they are doing great. And here is the Kellogg's breakfast tomatoes that I had started. They were little tiny things when you all saw them last. And now they're great big, and still have my leeks inside there. I've given them a couple of haircuts at this point, but they need another one. I did pick up some pepper plants because I was not too sure if these pepper plants would be ready by the time that I got them outside, but it looks like that they may get ready. And these are the celery. They're still little tiny guys. So now I know what takes so long on celery. It just takes a really long time on them, and you can see that they're still really small. So I did go ahead and pick up some different celery plants. They actually had these at Menards, so I picked those up and they looked great. So I've been working with those. I'll get them set out as soon as it's any danger of frost and freeze is gone. And I did get some flowers. These are all of my squash plants and my red curry squash and my watermelons and cucumbers and things like that. I started those pretty recently. I don't think I put that on camera, but I did get them started. There are loads and loads of them in here. You can see they're still coming up on this half because that is the watermelons and things. They take longer. And these are the squash and cucumbers. So those came up really fast, and my cucumbers are as big as my squash plants, which is really surprising. First time I've had that happen that they're so large. But I've had plenty of cucumbers in the past, as you know. And that is my grandson's basil back here that he started in a little pot that he got from Dollar Tree. And that is the cauliflower. They're ready to be set out at any point. I've got a couple more super sauce tomatoes here. They're doing great. I picked up some geraniums. They're awesome. I just got one of each color. Don't really like geraniums, but I decided, hey, what the hey. Got some pansies. And my daughter wanted some hens and chicks. These were all on sale. We got them at Menards, and then we have rebates on those too. These are pretty much the only things that we spent for this upcoming gardening season. Was just for the flowers and a couple of other little things, and that was about it. So we've got some petunias, as you can see here, and they're already going on their second run of blooms. And we repotted a bunch of plants, so those are all looking great. And my daughter picked up some more succulents. And we still have plants to get rooted into some pots because we picked those up at the plant sale. And here's most of my brassicas. I still have not put those out yet because I was just a little cautious after I heard there could be snow on Friday. And then there's the other pepper plants. I actually got those clearanced out, reduced price, because they had some tops missing on a couple of them, and there were a couple of cells that were empty. So I went ahead and got them to reduce the price on those to $1.50 for a 6-pack, which are actually just about a 4 or a 5-pack. Some of them are even just a 3-pack. But I thought that was a great buy. And I did want to try these tomatoes. These are the San Marzano. I have not grown the San Marzano in a very long time, way back when I was in Tennessee. So I want to try those. And that's all of my cabbages and things are still doing fine in their pots. It doesn't matter if they get a little, leggy or anything like that, because they just pull it on out. We've also been doing some seed saving of some different peppers that my daughter had wanted to save the seeds from. We've got red and orange and yellow all through here that she may want to go ahead and see if she can start the seeds and get them started. And then I got her a little set of where you can start plants in, get them rooted. So you can check that out. I picked that up at Menards as well, and I got it on sale. And then we're getting ready to start some more seeds over here because even though I have squash, I have red curry and things like that, I don't have my zucchini and yellow straight neck squash started because I just basically get those to come up and then I just set them directly out because I don't want them to get too root bound in the pots or anything like that. So that's what I'm getting ready to do over here. And we picked up a couple of hibiscus plants on sale at Menards. So we went ahead and got those. And then the plants that I had picked up on clearance are still doing great. Just sitting around in here in our front porch. And the little tiny baby aloe has gotten a lot bigger. You can see it in there now. And I need to go ahead and get that separated out. That's called a pup on an aloe plant. And we've got more succulents that my daughter's picked up. Some of them are the old ones that we had, and then some that are mixed in. And there's the other hibiscus plant. Fiddle leaf fig, still doing great. And I did go ahead and get my lemon tree set outside. I'll have to take it back inside before the snow hits, but it is just loving life right now outside. And I'll probably plant some cucumbers or something at the base of it like I did last season. And there is one of the yellow pear tomatoes that I set out. This one actually got broken, but I went ahead and just stuck it down deeper, and it seems to be doing fine. And then I did get some kale and beets and things like that planted out here in rutabaga, and there are a few of them coming up, but I also have some sunflowers that are coming up from the seeds that I hand out to the birds. So we've got that going on. The thyme has came back out. I got 2 pots of thyme back there. One's lemon thyme and one's other regular thyme. That's all coming back out. And then I wanted to show you that I have a strange phenomenon going on that I have not had before, and that is my rhubarb is blooming. And I've already done some research on it, and I'm going to have to remove the bloom so I can keep having leaves come up. So I have rhubarb this season, so all of it's going to bloom. So I would assume that's like a biennial thing, but I don't remember my mother's or anybody else's blooming, so that's a very strange thing for me. I do have some basil that's out right now, and it would probably get killed in the snow, except that it hasn't came up yet, so that's a good thing. And then some lavender, and then I got my fuchsias out here, and they're getting hit hard with wind. We've had a lot of issues with wind this season, and I've noticed that it's been going on pretty much across the country, and a lot of people complaining about the wind. And that is very true. If we do not have the wind to die down, it's going to kill a whole lot of plants. These are the mint, and they're doing okay. We got them back outside, and they're actually liking being back outside. So they've definitely came back out. The peppers that I had planted before, well, they're pretty rough, and it's probably because of the wind, and that's the reason why I went ahead and picked up some more pepper plants. Now, I've got dill coming up over here. Dill is not bothered by the wind until it gets really tall, so no worries there, and I'll take it inside during the snow. I got some lemon balm that is starting over here, and I'll take that inside. And then I transplanted some sage out of the garden. I actually went back over the garden with the tiller again, and I'll probably do so again, just because it keeps packing down, and it's just moisture and things that's going on. We had some rain after I had tilled it, so that caused it to pack down a little bit, so I'm going to go back over it again with the tiller. The rosemary's still doing great out here. I did have some dianthus that overwintered, so I went ahead and got that transplanted into this long planter. You can see it's all coming out right now. I think the other one has died back, so I may pull that one out, but this one definitely doing great. And all of the parsley that I transplanted over here is still doing fantastic. Got new leaves coming in the middle sections. You can see there, even though they look like they're pretty beat up, it's the wind again. And here's the larger rhubarb, and you can see definitely that it is going to bloom. There is the bloom right there in the center. And like I said, I'm going to have to cut that out so that way it keeps producing leaves. I had a load of calendula that had went ahead and reseeded itself. So you can see that all through there. There's all kinds of calendula that came up from seed, and I'm actually going to go ahead and get that out of there and replant it, because I want to plant the entire front section all the way through, about the first 12 inches or so of different flowers all along the edges, and then I want to be putting a fence all along the edge as well. And I did sit out the tomatillo that we had, and unfortunately they just did not make it. So my daughter's going to restart the seeds and see if she can get those up and going before it's too late to do so. We did get some peas set out, and they are not coming up as yet. We only got them planted about 4 or 5 days ago, so they have not started coming up as yet, but I did get some new trellises to expand on out. And I did get 5 rows of onions that were planted in this section of the garden, and they are coming up. We got little onions, and the snow will not bother them actually, so you can see that there. And we did get some beans planted. The beans will be okay because they are not going to be coming up anytime soon. They were just planted about 3 days ago, so no worries there. but I do have 3 rows of beans here planted. Pole beans on the front, and then in the back is going to be bush beans. Here's another one of the yellow pear tomatoes that I set out, and it's doing great. We'll just carry it in the house. Now this one is the one I worry about. It's my grandson's, and I had put a yellow pear tomato in his. It is a beautiful plant, but unfortunately it's probably going to get killed. I'll try to cover it up, but I'm not sure the temperatures are supposed to get to like 27 degrees on Friday night, so I doubt that it will make it. And I can't very well carry this whole thing inside, so we may have to replant that one, but at least we'll have a couple of them that we can carry inside. And his lettuce is doing beautifully, and he's got some carrots up and radishes, and he's got some lemon balm, basil. He loves basil so much. I got 5 rows of potatoes planted, all in here. So we have those 5 rows, all Kennebec. And then I did pick up a bag of some russets that I'm going to go ahead and plant as well in another section of the garden, since I've got less stuff going in there since I've condensed down. I had transplanted the barrage, and look at that guy. That was just one that came up, but then we have a bunch more that have came up, and I'm going to go ahead and get those transplanted as well. They just started coming up everywhere. And I actually see a potato up, so I'm going to have to cover that up so the snow doesn't hit it. And we'll carry that basil inside because all the basil's up in that little square planter. And then we did get 5 rows of corn planted as well, but it will not be up for another 2 weeks or so. So no worries there. It'll be fine. It'll weather it through. And we've got spinach that is looking fantastic, as well as some lettuce that I transplanted out of my grandson's and put it over here, and it just took off. So I just transplanted that 2 days ago, and it looks great. We've got some Greek oregano coming up here, and our cress is coming up all in this planter. I replanted some more radishes, and they're all up in here. And my triple curled parsley is up in that planter, as well as you can see my coriander or cilantro, and I'll have to carry that inside as well, those, to keep them from getting killed. We planted some chives in here, and I just see them beginning to come up. And we sacrificed one of the planters to put some daffodils in, and I'd had them sitting inside, meant to plant them in the fall, never got to it, so I went ahead and threw them in a planter. And then these are chives that I transplanted out of the main garden, and they're doing great. I just did that a couple of days ago, and they just took off. In fact, I'm even seeing a bloom. See that? Tarragon, I had 1 tarragon, actually 2 that have came up, maybe 3. They're really tiny, and you can see them in there, perhaps. So we'll have some tarragon in there. I don't have anything in these planters yet, and then we have our strawberries in the new converted kiddie pool. And my daughter just planted 6 more in here. Some of them are getting leaves, but it'll be a little while yet, and we'll have to cover those up with some straw before Friday, but they'll be fine. And then I have been working on my herb garden, and here it is. And let me go ahead and do a part 2 on this video before it cuts off.